welcome back to our channel. We are the Choi family and it's so great having you here. Hey! So today we are doing something a little bit different and we are having a discussion on a few different topics, which is something that we do as a family quite frequently, don't we? We love having a good old chat. We do it on a pretty much daily basis. So we thought, you know what, let's just get the cameras here and let you in on our discussions. So
let's talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kick it off now with our very first question. Yipman's going to get started straight into it.
So the first topic, this was from the Birmingham Live website, and basically it reported that a group of people went to a restaurant called the Cowshed in Pattingham. And Pattingham's a really nice place, as you know, so I'm guessing it's a posh restaurant. But what happened was they left a review on TripAdvisor saying that they weren't happy with the food and they just weren't happy with the place. The food was cold and everything like that. And the owner of the pub replied saying, "Sorry to hear that. However, you ate all of the food and then you're telling us, and also."
So they ate all the food?
They ate all the food and then complained on the website afterwards.
Okay.
And then the owner said that the leader of the group was really aggressive as well. So the first question is, how comfortable do you guys feel complaining when it comes to you going to a restaurant and you're getting bad food or bad service? Is it something that you find really easy doing, or do you shy away from complaining? What do you guys think?
Okay, shall I get started off on this one? Yeah, because you guys know that I'm the one that tends to do the complaining.
She is the designated complainer.
Yeah, you guys put it on me.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that I feel that I want to do it, but I've been pushed into it. But to be fair, I am that person that does say it as well. Yeah. And sometimes you've had to sort of nudge me. You will be there nudging me to kind of not say too much because you cringe at it, don't you? Yeah, but Daddy cringes at it. And for me, my personal view is that you're paying for a service, you're paying for, it's not like you're getting the food for free. And even if you are, I still think that you do have a right to say it. It's how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So for me, if I've received some food and if the chicken, for example, is red inside, for me, I'm not just going to carry on eating it or just push it to one side or what have you. I think personally, I'd have to say something. I'd have to say, hi there, I've just been cut into my chicken and it is red, so could I have another piece of chicken cooked properly, please, thoroughly, please? Thank you so much. And I'd smile and just hope to God they don't spit in my food, because you hear stories like that as well. And I wouldn't be saying it loudly for everyone to hear and cause a scene, because I think that's not like it either. I hate when people cause a scene. Yeah. So I think discretion is key and just saying what I feel. How about you, Isaac? Because you seem like you agree. You were like,
What I would do is, first of all, I would not eat all the food. Okay. I wouldn't eat all the food. I would want to say, here, my chicken's a bit red. Yeah. And my food is cold, so they can inspect it.
Yeah, inspect it.
And see where they went wrong with it. Yeah. But really, if I was at a friend's house, I wouldn't not eat it. I would maybe just put it under the table.
You let the dog eat it. Yeah. You'd be like, there you go, feed the dog.
No, I wouldn't I wouldn't leave it because I wouldn't want to be rude about it.
I know what you mean. There's a fine line with that. If you're at someone's house. At school, for example, you'd feel comfortable saying to the dinner ladies, "Oh, the chicken's not cooked." Yeah. You would.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm happy that you would.
Because you don't want if all the chicken. You don't want for all the chicken to be red and then everyone gets food poisoning.
Exactly, that's true. So you're thinking about yourself and others.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would tell them.
Yeah. Good point. What about you?
I think it really depends on the level of the food quality or the level of the service. So, for example, if the food's raw, obviously you have to bring it up because you can't eat it. Yeah. But if it was slightly overcooked, I don't know if I'd say anything. Yeah. Maybe I would. I'm not sure. This is how different me and Adelaine are. So I went to Sainsbury's, and I went to the heated meat section, and I think I ordered some chicken thighs or something like that. And I think what happened was the guy licked his finger before trying to get the glove or the plastic, and that's something I really, really hate. Like, who licks their fingers? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the most disgusting thing ever. And I would have thought that, you know, their food safety training would have taught them not to.
Yeah.
But so they packed the chicken, gave it to me, and because of me feeling too awkward to say something about it, I took it away. And then I walked down the aisle, and then I just put it on the aisle, and I just left. So I missed out on some good chicken because I didn't say anything. Now, would I say something? I probably would. But then also, so you do that. So, for example, we did a video about talking about Subway, and Adelaine, me and Adelaine were in Subway, and I think the person did the same thing, or something to do with hygiene, and then Adelaine said something like, "Excuse me, I just saw you do this, lick your glove or something. Would you mind changing your gloves?"
Oh yeah, I asked them to wash their hands and change the gloves.
Wash hands and change the gloves. So Adelaine, Adelaine feels really comfortable saying things like that, and that's where
I say please. I say with a smile.
Yeah,
I'll say it with like, I won't be like, "Excuse me, can you wash your hands?" But I'm not like that at all. I'll say discreetly. I say, I just saw you lick your fingers, and that's not very hygienic because we're working with food. So can you please wash your hands and change your gloves, please? Thank you so much.
And I really cringe when she says that, because I really feel bad for the person that you're telling. I'm thinking like, oh, they're going to feel really bad about it, and I shouldn't think like that. I wish I was more like you.
You've got to think about, you know, they could pass on their germs to you, and it's just nasty.
And you're not going to enjoy your Subway.
Yeah, I'm not going to enjoy my Subway, and I'd be just mad that I've spent that money and eating at a Subway. I'd just be picturing them, the fingers,
the saliva,
the germs.
Yeah.
So next up, unfortunately, the Russia-Ukraine war is still going on. Loads of lives have been lost, and there's been a lot of refugees that's had to leave the country. England has taken on over 53,000 refugees, and a lot of people, so ordinary people in the UK, have housed Ukrainian refugees in their own homes, so welcomed them into their home. And it was on the news today that even the royal family has provided accommodation for some refugees. So our next question is, how comfortable would you feel opening up your home to refugees? Would you let someone that you don't know into your home and let them stay there for 6 months? Is that something that you've done before? So for me, when I heard that there was this scheme to be able to provide a home for refugees, I instantly thought, wow, what a great idea. We've got like a spare room downstairs which they could stay in, and we're thinking, you know, these poor people that they've had to run away from their home, from their country, leave everything behind, and you know, as decent human beings, you know, if you've got something to provide, we should be there to help someone. And so I thought, when I heard about that, I thought I'd go home and bring it up with Adelaine and see what she said. But knowing Adelaine, I kind of thought that she'd be against it. But when I spoke with her about it, I was really surprised to know that she was quite open to it. But then we had a few reservations, so we spoke about it. Yeah. And 6 months is quite a long time, and you explained to me that you knew someone that had au pairs, for example, that stayed in their house, in the person's house to help out, and they ended up stealing from them. So I think it's a great thing to do, but I think that a lot of these people, I don't know, would they have been vetted? A whole population of people have left the Ukraine, and there's all sorts of people. So just as with any society, you've got normal law-abiding people, and then you're going to have a few serial killers, a few robbers. Yeah. You know what I mean? A few thefts. A few thieves. So it's just kind of luck of the draw, you know. Who you're going to get. Yeah. To be honest. So I think that if we brought someone into the house, there's going to be times where, you know, they're just going to be alone in the house by themselves. Would I feel comfortable leaving them with the kids to start with? No, definitely not.
To start with?
What?
To end with, no.
Okay, but I'm guessing, you know, like after a while you're going to get to know the person, aren't you? So, yeah, I mean,
I think we're different when it comes to that, aren't we?
But you'd leave the kids with some friends, wouldn't you? I'm guessing.
Yeah, but they're friends, and not every friend. Not every acquaintance. No, friends, yes, but then there's only a few. I think with the children, we leave them with just a few people.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you think about it, there are a lot of people that you could leave them with. Yeah. It doesn't mean that we think they're going to murder them, but it's just, you just want someone that the children are going to be comfortable with as well.
Yeah.
But then on this side, I'm not sure if you finished saying what you're saying.
No,
but then for me, just on that front alone, that's just something like, it's a no for, in the sense of I'll never leave the children out with anybody that we've just met 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Even if they're a relative, if I'm honest, if I've met a relative, no offence to the relative, but I don't know you yet, you don't know me yet, just because they're your relative doesn't mean that they're a good person. And so for me, like, our responsibility is to look after the children and make sure that they're safe, protected, and people that are with them have their best interests at heart and are going to do what we would want to do.
You think it's going to take more than 6 months?
Yeah, and I just can't see myself, even I feel like the people that I have that are in our lives that look after the kids, we've known them for years, like family, friends that we've known for years. So for me, there's no way I would even, no. There's no way that I would personally, but you carry on with what you were saying, and then
I think it's just balancing out. I think I hear what you're saying about the kids.
Yeah.
When it comes to, maybe us getting a refugee that steals from us, it's just balancing out the probabilities and chances. I think that, to be honest, I think if I was single and living by myself, I would do it.
Yeah.
I think that's you've just got to take the risk, really. And if you're too worried too much about your own property and things like that, then you probably not help a lot of people at all. Like it's about putting their lives first before yours, in a way. Putting their lives first before your property. And that's what helping is. That's what giving is. I think giving. A lot of times, if you're giving properly, it should be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So there's no point. If you're just giving like what you don't need, you're just kind of giving them your loose change. I think true giving is, it's gonna hurt a little bit, whether it's your own pocket or whatever. So I think if I was single, I'd do it. I think us living together as a family, I think there's more at stake if something goes wrong. So us speaking about it, my own decision was it's probably best to not do it.
Yeah.
Especially with the kids being so young. Maybe when they're a bit older, it'd be a bit different. But yeah, that's how I feel. How about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of factors to consider. So for me, definitely the kids' priority, and for me that already makes me reluctant. I was considering it in the sense of I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, definitely, but I was like, yeah, let's have a conversation about it, because of course it's heart-wrenching, and you would want to know that you would have somewhere to stay if we were in that position. You wouldn't want everyone to say no, and for everyone to say, oh, but they look weird, or they don't look like the sort of family that we want to stay with, or what have you. So you want to extend the same to somebody else as well. But everybody's different, and I'm not perfect in this area at all, and so I need help because I know that I'm a private person, quite a private person. You wouldn't believe it, but I am in a lot of ways.
You're more private than me.
I am, yeah, and private in the sense that I like to do when I'm at home. I like to kick back, put my feet up, and that's my sanctuary. And yeah, gosh, we have friends over, we have family over, we love entertaining, we love all of that. But there comes a point where I like my own space as well, just for a while, just to kind of reset. And so I feel that it's with the dynamics of us with the two children and then having another family. If it was a family, it sounds bad, it might sound bad to some people, but if it was a family where it was a female with two children, I would feel more comfortable than with a male, female and two children. So I think it's a sense of I don't want to be in my own house feeling vulnerable. Here is like the place that's like a safe haven, and I don't want to be in my house and feeling like I'm having to tiptoe when it's our house. I feel like I wouldn't want anyone to be here and for them to feel that they're having to tiptoe either. In terms of trust, I feel that it's not guilty until proven innocent. I'm not like negative like that, but there is an element where, you know, trust has to be earned, and if you're in my house, I'm not just going to leave you here because I don't know who you are. And yes, you may be vetted, but some things haven't been charged with it yet.
Vetted just means they haven't been caught. They haven't been
caught, yeah. So for me, it's like, you know, how do I know you're not X, Y, Z? I'm not trying to. I think I'd rather help in other ways. That's basically it. Is that I'd rather help like. Helping out with giving, you know, food, providing meals. I provide meals every day. I'd have them over for dinner, and you know, hopefully they could. You know, it sounds awful for them to stay somewhere else, but I thought it's a case by case as well. Because if it was 2 children that need it, of course, you know, it goes without saying. But again, then the dynamics with our children, we'd have to check and vet those children. And it might sound a bit overbearing for some people, but for me, my priority is to make sure that my children are safe and protected and that they feel like that as well. So I just wouldn't feel comfortable with it, but I'd love to think that I would come to a point in my life where I will feel comfortable with it. I think that if it was just me and you, I would definitely be way more willing to do it. I think it was just me and you living in our house and there was a family that wanted to stay with us and we vetted them, then I'd be cautious. I wouldn't leave them here. I don't know how we get around not leaving them here. You know what I mean?
I
have to lock all our bedrooms and what have you and put things away. But then, yeah, I think if it was just the 2 of us, it would be totally different. But with the kids, and still, it doesn't mean that just because it was just the 2 of us that I'm not private. I've been private from. That's just how I am. I'm just I like that time just for me, just to.
Okay, very good.
Be.
Okay.
What about you, Isaac? How would you feel if we had a family? How would you feel about the whole situation of what Daddy said, and you know, having a family come to stay with us?
Or if you are older, maybe if you're older, living by yourself.
Oh, okay.
So
would you
both.
Want someone to come to your home?
First, I would like maybe meet them somewhere, maybe like at the park. So we can get to know each other. I can see if they're a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Or see if they're a bit weird. I don't know how it would be if I left them at my house.
Okay.
If I had a house.
That's the thing.
Like, maybe I would, like, before I bring them, I'll put up like security cameras everywhere.
Yeah, they've even done ones just to make them know if the big brother is watching you. But I wouldn't want them to feel uncomfortable now.
Yeah. Maybe I can put like something like if there's like. They open the door, there's like a big confetti pop and it goes.
Yeah, we touched them.
Yeah. Don't you think that, you know, you're just treating them like a criminal before they've even
and that's not right
done
at all.
anything?
Yeah,
and I'm thinking they'd probably rather just stay on the street.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Than come live there.
It's true.
Thinking that, you know, these people think I'm a criminal. People.
Yeah, I do feel bad, and I think you're right. What about you, Isaac? Do you feel a bit bad? Or not?
Maybe not. No. Maybe I wouldn't do that. But I would try and maybe like just make sure like there's a tiny bit of security so that like if they do something I can see it or something.
Would you lock your bedroom door?
I would.
Without a doubt,
I would like put like security cameras everywhere.
That's a good idea. Yes. Bella said, would you add a passcode on it? That's a good point, Bella.
Yeah, and not tell them.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I
good
think
point.
I'll definitely like just maybe put like 1 or 2 things in the house so you know, like I feel more safe. So if they do something, I can catch them doing something.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it everywhere so they feel insecure.
Yeah.
Like I'm just looking at them everywhere they go. I wouldn't do that, but like have a bit of security.
Yeah, that's wisdom. That's wise. I think that's wise, Isaac. I like that. You can go too far either way. You can be too overprotective of your stuff. And you know, the scripture that comes to mind is when it talks about we can't take all this to heaven, and we don't want to be so like protective of everything that like we're making people uncomfortable in your house, and that's something that I'm definitely opposed to. And it's not like if they took a cushion, I'm not going to cry about it. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like yeah, you don't want them trashing your house, you don't want them stealing your stuff. But you want people, whenever they come, you want them to feel comfortable, and that's the reason why I'd probably not be the one for you to stay with, because I wouldn't want them to feel uncomfortable. It sounds like I'm an awful host, doesn't it?
It does a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I think you've got to get the right balance. I think that you don't want to be overbearing, because you want to make the person feel comfortable in your home. And whenever anybody comes here, I go out my way. We both go out our way to make them feel so comfortable. I tell them, put your feet up, maybe get you some more cushions. Do you want a blanket? And I'd like that for them to feel free. Help yourself. Help yourself to a drink. Help yourself to the food. And literally, we mean that from the bottom of our heart. The other side of things is that you don't want it to be like just come in the house and you're not be aware that there's a stranger in your home, because that's the thing. You see, they are a stranger, you don't know them, and then that could come with consequences. So I think you do have to be vigilant as well.
How about you? How would you feel? So if you had a house, how would you feel about letting someone in who didn't have anywhere to live? Would you let them live in your house?
If they were a stranger?
Yeah, if they were a stranger, yeah.
I would add a little bit of security cameras added to my laptop, so sometimes I can see, but also maybe just a little bit, maybe just choose, because if it's got one, and if I only had one, what would I do? So maybe just two, and then maybe add both of them to my laptop.
Smart answer, isn't it?
But also, I wouldn't add a lot, so they wouldn't feel comfortable. I would also I don't really know what I mean.
I think you do. I think you know. I think you're heading to the right. I think you're heading in a good direction. So you'd have cameras so that you could see, just to make sure the house is safe. But they're not too many, so they feel like everywhere I go, somebody's watching me. You don't
feel like they're in prison.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want that at all, because you're better off not having them stay around.
Yeah. So maybe 2 or 3 or 1.
Yeah, that's it. So just one last thing I wanted to say is that we have to remember that, God forbid, if we were ever in that situation, we have to think, how would we feel being in a home? What impact would it make on our lives if we were in a home that had loads of cameras and everything we touch beat off?
Well, I never suggested. I know,
but I'm just saying, yeah. So I'm speaking to myself, I suppose, compared to if we were in a home and they were just so warm, so welcoming. You've got, what you feel in your heart. But then it's praying to God. I think you've got to take it case by case and pray to God that you can always treat others as you would want to be treated. And I would feel, if someone had a camera in the house, I wouldn't blame them, because I'd say, do you know what? Yeah, I'd do the same. Good for you. I'd tell them good for you, because they'd put it up. Come on, let me help you. Let me open the ladder for you. Because at the end of the day, they're just protecting their family and their property. But then the fact that they've opened the door to me, I think that speaks volumes as it is. So for me, it's like, I wouldn't want to be in a house though that I would feel that I was in there and that I've been treated like a criminal as well. So that would affect me. Yeah, that's it. So I think, you either don't invite them in, or you invite them in and welcome them with open arms. Yeah, that's it. Okay, guys. So the last one is, I was in town, I think it was last week, with a friend, and I heard a whole ruckus going on behind me, and I turned around and there were 4 girls that were fighting. And when I say fighting, they were like dragging each other's hair, they were punching. It wasn't like, a little poke here or a slap there. They were trying to hurt each other. And me and my friend were walking, and we looked back, and it was that split second where, not even a split second, we had a moment to think, should we go and intervene? Should we call the police? What should we do? Should we just stand there and watch? I saw somebody take out their phone. They were filming it. Yeah, I was like, no.
How old was the person filming?
Pardon?
How old was the person?
They were about 30.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were about 30 years old. They looked it, and I was just like, what do I do here? Because I've got a viewpoint on it, obviously, but I'll let you guys speak first. But it is that sort of tug of, but do you help that person? Who do you help? Because there were 4 people. It can relate. We can move this across to another situation, if you see a woman beating a man or a man beating a woman or whatever, if it's one-on-one, what would you do in that scenario as well? So what would you do in this situation, guys? Would you jump in to help or would you call for help? Is it so black and white?
Okay, so to answer that, I think the big question is, are you able, physically, are you skilled enough to go and make a difference to help the victim?
So true.
And then who is the victim? You know, like sometimes in a fight you don't know whether there is a victim or they're just both wanting a fight for the sake of it and they're kind of both to blame.
Yeah.
So I think that if there was a robbery going on and someone was, you know what, if someone was stealing something from someone, I'd be really cautious about helping them because I'm thinking it's just physical property that they're taking and, you know, they'll probably just take it and go, you know, no one's being harmed.
Yeah.
I think that if someone was being attacked and, you know, the victim is being attacked, then I'd like to think that I'd jump in and help.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they could be seriously injured or even killed here.
Yeah.
And if there was a big group fight going on, I probably wouldn't do anything because I'm thinking that, you know, I'm thinking in my mind that they're probably all to blame here. You know what I mean? So I probably wouldn't help. And I don't know.
Would you call for help?
Would I call for help? I don't know. I don't know if I'd be too bothered, to be honest.
Oh really? If it's a group? Oh, okay.
Yeah, to be honest. And then let's say if there was some. So basically, to add to this story, I watched a channel on YouTube called Active Self Protection.
Oh, I love that.
And there's been a lot of videos where there's been some domestic abuse, domestic violence in public. So a guy beating down a woman, for example, and then you'll have someone, a stranger, coming to help. They'll end up getting stabbed or shot by the man, and then the woman ends up going off with her spouse or whatever.
No, I'd be mad.
And then I'm thinking, hold up, you know, like you're going to help this woman. You're thinking you're there to save their lives, and you end up losing your life. Yeah. And then the woman doesn't even care, and you know, ends up going back home with the guy. Yeah. I'd be gutted to go out that way.
Yeah. I'd be mad. I'd be like,
out of all the ways to leave this world.
Oh, absolutely livid. Yeah. Yeah, you'd want to come back and just put your hand down the neck.
Yeah, but did I answer that question? I
think you were putting a few different scenarios. I think you put a few. So in that situation, if you saw a man beating a woman, would you then? Because you've said you've heard of this, but would you help if you saw a man beating a woman?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What if they were like 7 foot tall and really big?
You just got to do your best to help. I'd like to think that in the spur of the moment, you know, like. In instances like this, it's a fight or flight thing, isn't it? But I hope that I'd be willing at that moment to go in and help. And because there's clearly a victim at that moment. Yeah. You don't know what the woman's going to do, but if it was you, you know what I mean, like being beat down in the street, I'd want someone to help you. Yeah. Like I said, it depends on your skills to fight and then on your size. So, for example, like if there was a guy beating down another guy, how about you? Would you go in to help? Because bearing in mind that I'm not saying that women are physically weaker, but they can be in general. Yeah. Women tend to be a lot smaller.
Because you're
have less physical strength.
Yeah. Oh.
Can I say that?
No, of course you can. But then I just love it that you said it, and it's just like brings out. See, get ready for the comments. But then, okay, so I think helping people is the right thing to do because on Earth we're all here, meant to be here for each other, and to live together in harmony. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? It's not always very harmonious. For me, I have to think that if somebody was beating me up, if somebody was beating my children up, God forbid, you up, or any of my family or friends, I'd want to know that somebody came in to help and not everybody was on the phone or standing by or what have you. But you have to appreciate their situation because if the person that's doing the beating is really much bigger than them, then they've got their family to think about, and they're thinking, I want to help you, but then physically, I know I'm going to get beat down too by this person, especially if they seem crazy. You've got some people that you can see they're on a rampage and they're going around beating up people or shooting or stabbing. I would not go in because I feel like I'd just call the police, get the police, they're down there now, because you know that you're going to help, but then what's the point of having 2 dead people? Who's going to then help? So I feel that ideally, you know, it's a case by case scenario. Instinctively though, I have got that in me where I'm not really overly afraid of confrontation. And I've had to rein that in, not in the sense of I'm not looking for confrontation, I've never been that sort of person, but
you like to stand up for what's right, don't you?
Always, you see. So because of that, I've got myself in a situation where thank God I didn't get hurt. But then, like for example, when I used to work, I was in management at Zara, a clothing store, and in our store there was no security guards. We only had security in the centre. And I saw somebody stealing it, and I'm not joking, the bag that they had was like a bin bag, and they were just pouring it in. And then
they were doing that because they knew that there was
no security there. And so I saw them doing this, and I was just like, what on earth are you doing? And then they ran out of the store, and then I chased after them, and there were 2 of them, and they both ran out of the store, and I chased after them, and it was just that instinct to do that, and I now look back, and Yitman was not impressed at all. He was like, somebody could have bashed you from behind, and that would have been the end of you, or what have you, or you could have got really badly injured. And I wasn't thinking about that. I just thought, how dare you take the stock? And I don't know why I was so protective of it, because it's just clothes, and I know it sounds awful, but it's not worth risking your life over. And that was pre-children as well, so I think it was different. Like now I certainly would not be doing that, but then I just instinctively ran after them. I don't know what I was planning to do. I was just going to say, excuse me, pull that back out, give it back here, give me that bag, and I'll take it back, and then I'd look for security.
What happened after then? Did you catch them?
I chased them. No, I was chasing them. They ran out, and I ran for security after. But I did get quite far, and I did run quite a bit. So I was running through the centre, and yeah, I had.
And you're a quick runner.
Yeah, a very quick runner. I was weaving in between people and asking people, excuse me, can you move out the way, please? I'm just chasing somebody. I remember explaining to people as I was going. And yeah, really, it was a really silly thing of me to do. And I acknowledge that because I could have got hurt. And yeah, it was a woman and a man. Yitman made a good point, saying they could have been working with a group of people. The fact there were 2 of them, there could have been more of them, to pass a gang of them, passing it to each other and what have you, and that somebody could have just went...
Piggy in the middle.
Piggy in the middle, do you know what I mean? You know, and yeah, I would never do that again. But then when it comes to somebody, a life, again, I have confronted situations where I was in the store, I think I was with you and my sister, and then there were a group of boys, about 15, 16, so some of them were bigger than me, and it was in Aldi specifically, and they were kicking a football around, and instinctively, like the mama bear came out, and I was just like, guys, what do you think you're doing? Put that ball back. Where are your parents? They'd be ashamed of you right now, because they were kicking the ball. You saw these poor older ladies and men looking absolutely petrified that they're not going to get
inside the store.
Inside the store, and it wasn't like they were doing it for like a little bit of time, a little kick around or what have you. Do you know, like if you're in a sports shop and someone's kicking the ball, checking it out, what have you? They weren't doing that. It was literally going from aisle to aisle, and my blood was boiling, and I was just like, I'm going to have to say something here, and I did. I know it could have gone belly up because they could have hurt me.
How did they react?
They looked really embarrassed, and they stopped doing it, and they put the ball back. I said, put it back over there where it belongs. And I said, I don't want to see you guys messing about in here again. And I said, why are you doing? What did I say? I was having a right go at them. I was just saying to them, where were your parents? You know better. Don't do this. Don't cause problems for yourself. Okay, guys, have a nice day. And I just left them at that, because I just felt like the parents weren't there. It was like a motherly kind of a telling off that I gave to them. So ultimately, if I saw somebody like how I did see somebody, it was a good thing that we saw the police come, and they were not far away, literally steps away, and I didn't realise. That worked out well. If I saw a man beating a woman, I think the right thing to do, it would feel, is to go in and say something at least. But then, is it the wise thing to do? Is it wiser just for me to call the police and get the police to get him arrested? Because I could get hurt. So I think you have to use wisdom, and I think it's case by case. If I see two women beating each other as well, it's difficult. Sometimes you can see people, you can see they're clearly high, and you just know, don't get involved. If you see somebody getting bullied on the street, if I saw a child getting bullied, absolutely, I'd go in and help. So it's a difficult one, isn't it?
Definitely.
What do you think? What do you think would be the right thing for me to do as like your wife? How would you feel if you heard that I got involved? Like if I saw two women fighting and I tried to physically separate them, because there was a man that went in between those 4 girls I was telling you about, and he tried to separate them, you see. How would you feel about it?
I think that I just want you to be safe and sensible about it. I think that if
safe and sensible.
If you go in with the intention of, telling them to stop, I think that you have to be prepared that it could escalate to something physical.
Yeah.
And so, in that case, would I trust you to win in a fight? Maybe, I don't know. But then I wouldn't want you to risk getting hurt.
No.
So, personally, I prefer you to just call the police.
Yeah.
In that situation, I think.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, in the majority of situations, I'll just call for help, because I've always been that sort of person. I've always said it to you as well. Don't get involved. You don't know, as you said, you don't know who the victim is. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the dynamics of this situation at all. Of course, if you see a man punching somebody and they're literally getting battered and they're just, you want to do something. But again, when somebody's got a weapon, it's a big risk.
And Mummy, I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah. What would you do, Isaac, if you saw at school, for example, if there were two people in year 5, for example, a year above you, 2 boys, and they're both fighting, but you could see that one is getting hurt, they're getting hurt by the other boy. What would you do? If one's on the floor and you can see the boy's just punching him in his head.
I would shout, "Hey, you, stop it!" And then, if they don't stop it, I would tell the teacher, or if they get up and chase after me, I would again tell the teacher.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think that's it. I think at least.
And if there's a man teacher, especially, I would tell them especially.
Oh, okay. So you go to the male teacher.
Yeah.
So don't you think the female teacher would be able to handle it as well?
I feel they would, but it depends how old they are. I don't want it to be an old teacher. Getting beaten up, or a young one getting beaten up. I want it to be like your age, like 40, someone who's like not too short, like they're almost the same size as them.
Oh, okay.
So I want them to be like get a real told off.
Get a real telling off. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because they're beating up someone.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like they said something. They're literally physically abusing someone.
Yeah. I like the fact that you speak up, because I think that's a good one. I think you have to assess it again with that, because if you're in school, because you're in an institution, it's a bit easier to speak up because you've got the backup of teachers and what have you and other staff members. I think when you're on the street, you have to be careful when you speak up, because sometimes you can speak up. I think it's a good thing to speak up, and me instinctively would speak up, but I've learned to not always speak up, because you could speak up and that could just turn them on you. What if the two of them came to you after that and they turned on you? So I think case by case and assessing the situation. I think we all agree on that, don't we? But I think you'd be the one that would intervene more.
I'd like to think
you seem like you'd be more of the intervener.
Yeah, I've always had a thing where, I don't know, sometimes, when you hear of like shootings in the public and like terrorist attacks and things like that, sometimes I've always thought that in that case, I've kind of mentally prepared myself that if ever that happens, I'd have to run towards the problem and sort it out, because you have to think like you're risking your life, but you could be saving like 10 or 20 lives. And I think that when it comes to that,
it's always been that. We always have these talks, don't we? I'm like, baby, you sure you would want to do that?
Yeah. I think it's just it's not about that.
No,
it's just balancing the damage. Because if there's a chance you could save 10, 20 lives.
Yeah, I hear you.
Then that should be an easy decision.
Yeah, I'd just be gutted, because obviously I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. So that for me makes me feel selfishly that, babe, don't do it, please don't do it. But then at the same time, for the greater good, it is important to do something for the greater good. And I think in life, we see these heroes, we're like, well done mate, well done, oh my gosh, you're amazing. But then if everybody thought, oh, I'm keeping away from this, I'm not going to help, then nobody would help, would they? And then everybody, it's just like every man for themselves type scenario. And
that's why you see these...
is toxic eventually, isn't it?
That's why you see these videos sometimes where there's someone being beaten up on the street, and there's like 10 or 20 people just watching.
Yeah, that's sickening, that is. Like, that sickens me.
People that you know can intervene and stop them, and they're just not doing anything.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think sorry, Isaac.
Sometimes they just do it for the views. They just film them.
Yeah, and put it on YouTube.
Then they just put it on YouTube and say, please like and subscribe if you want to see more epic videos like this.
Exactly, more drama. That's the thing. But then that really does annoy me, because I think collectively, if you've got like 5 grown men and you've got one person beating up somebody else, like surely collectively they can pin that person down, you see. So that, for me, I don't agree with that. And to be honest, if it was a thing where there were a group of us as well, and it wasn't just me standing on my Todd on my own for people that aren't from the UK, then, you know, I would definitely want to collectively be there to pin that person down as well. Absolutely, I would definitely do that.
Okay.
But if I was on my own, I feel like it's, I don't want to get hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it then. That's it for today's conversation.
Yes.
We really hope you enjoyed the chat that we had. Let us know what you think. So on these 3 areas which we've spoken about, let us know how you feel that you would react in this situation.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see more, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't.
Yes.
And then also, actually, if you want to see more of the same sort of thing, in the comments, let us know what kind of topics you'd like us to discuss.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Down below what you want us to talk about.
Absolutely.
And if you like this, maybe type in more chats.
That's it.
More chats.
More chats.
Hashtag more chats.
That's it. Hashtag more chats. Yeah. Chits
Okay.
chat.
Alright guys, so take care.
Oh, Bella, look at Bella, she looks worn out. You're gonna sit up, Bella, and say hi. Say Chloe. Bella's not very well. So you can see she's done so well. She's been such a trooper.
Take care guys, and we'll speak to you next time.